We've gathered a group of industry leaders from the technology and design community at Planet Innovation in Melbourne to judge some of the best innovations for the year in Australia and New Zealand.
In this episode, we're looking for the best products to go through to our top 10 in the final episode.
The judging panel represent designers, innovators and entrepreneurs who all come together to judge the best innovation for the year. To our first project, and Sam Lanyon of Planet Innovation was impressed by this unique idea.
eShepherd is bringing two strengths of Australia, agriculture and technology. And with their product, they're actually connecting the cows to the internet.
So Ian, tell me about fences.
Well, for thousands of years, people have used shepherds to look after their cattle, but we introduced barbed wire and wire fences to control where they graze. But with eShepherd, we can do away with all of that.
Ian reckons you can get rid of fences. How?
We can using this, which is the eShepherd virtual collar. It's got a couple of key features. One, it's solar powered, so the battery never needs to be charged. It's got a GPS unit in it, so it knows where it is on the planet and knows where the virtual boundary is. When you draw a fence on your computer, it sends those fence coordinates to the collar. As the animal approaches the virtual boundary, it gets an audio cue. If the animal goes no further, or it stops, or it turns around, that's all that happens. If it continues past the virtual boundary, it gets a mild electrical stimuli, which turns the animal back.
How mild?
Pretty mild.
Come on, give us a go. Come on, what? Actually, it's not too bad. So Cameron's shown us how you train the animals. Well, what's next?
Well, the farmer uses a tablet or computer and they can draw virtual paddocks on a map of their property, and then they can drag and drop their mobs of cattle into those paddocks.
Oh, wow.
And it shepherds them across.
You can muster from your living room.
You can be sipping a latte in London and you can be managing your cattle in Cunnamulla.
By creating virtual boundaries, eShepherd has removed physical boundaries. This has given farmers far more control over their stock and their land than they've ever had before.
Vince Frost from Frost Collective admired the design intent behind this new age playground.
Kids love to play and explore. This new design is brilliant, and it's great to see this industry continue to evolve.
As adults, we forget the subconscious lessons that we learned while playing as kids that we need later on in life.
A tree is the perfect environment to play, but children are not able to do this so frequently anymore because so many children live in an urban environment. They're learning how to move their bodies, how far they can stretch, how strong they are. They're learning to talk with each other, how to negotiate, and at the same time they're also assessing risk constantly. How far can I stretch and not fall? And if I do fall, what would happen? Thinking about what might be a danger in a child's mind is a very important skill to develop.
You've taken all these cues and you've embedded it in a beautiful playground.
That's right, and we've taken the tree and nature as our inspiration for designing playground equipment where children are allowed to play. We've reflected the elements of nature in the colours and shapes and forms of the play structure. But most importantly, what we've done is we've replicated the movements that children would have when they were playing in a tree in a way that means that they understand what they're doing and that their brains are learning as they're moving through the play equipment. It's really important that the play equipment that we provide for public parks is long-lasting, safe and durable.
Pretty much like a tree, right? It's just can stay out here in the harsh elements, and this can last for a very, very long time with very little maintenance. With more and more pressure on our public spaces and more kids and families growing up in high-rise buildings, it's really great to see clever design and innovation come together to create a learning experience which is super fun.
Imagine if we could divert waste from landfill, help people in hardship, and get our young people off their screens and involved in the community. It sounds like a bit of a fantastical wish list, but FixEd is not only tackling one or two of these problems, it's tackling all of them.
With more than half of all jobs predicted to disappear in the next 25 years, it's going to be really important to teach kids new skills and new ways of thinking.
Well, you'll notice things are a little bit different to a traditional classroom environment. It's far more interactive and easier for our students to learn by doing, rather than working in hypothetical spaces with hypothetical problems. We collect all of these from local scooter companies that are just happy to give them to us once they're decommissioned. So we show the kids through a design process how to actually fix these. And at the same time, we take our students out of the classroom and we actually put them out into the community and we connect them with real-world users with real-world problems.
We're connecting with actual people and finding out what their issue is. The major problem we found was mobility. Our main project was to fix that and be able to get them to and from places. So we got the scooters instead of them going to Landfield, and we came back here and we fixed them up. Once we got like the roadworthy and it was all signed off, they went back out to the community and now they're being used with the elderly.
No, that's wonderful.
They've spent a lot of time going back and forth and having these ongoing conversations about the problems that these individual people are experiencing. So these students actually have a real life user in mind that they communicate with, and they develop a lot of these really key critical skills around, developing empathy and having an understanding for connectedness and quality of life. And it's these skills that we really want to empower our students with, because they're not going to get outdated by the time they graduate and enter the workforce.
Charles Darwin famously said that it's not the most intelligent species that will survive, nor the strongest, but the one that's most adaptable to change. FixEd is a really clever way of teaching that will help prepare our next generation of innovators for the future. We've gathered a group of industry leaders to judge some of the best design innovations for the year. Peter Friedman from Rode Microphones praised the creators of our next innovation as true geniuses.
Trying to light a fire when I'm out, got wet wood or dry wood, it still takes forever. They've worked out how to do it, no drama.
Serge, I have to admit I'm surprised to be out here. I thought we were doing a bit of a backyard barbecue to see this innovation of yours.
Don't even worry about that. We're just going to go straight to the big stuff.
Really?
Yes.
No kindling?
No kindling.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. That's not petrol, is it?
No, it's water. I wouldn't be silly enough to use petrol.
But now it's soaking wet, we'll never light it.
Today, we're taking Blazable to the extreme.
That's it?
That's it.
But how's that going to light a fire? It's metal.
Well, you just twist it open. That's it. And then you throw your firelighters in there and you lock it in, and that stays locked, safe, and it won't open.
Genius. Let's put it to the test. I'm so impressed how quickly that lit.
Well, that's the beauty thing about Blazable. You don't need to do any stacking or pyramids or anything. You just throw it on, suffocate it as much as you want, because that's where it works best.
I guess I don't camp very often, but I've got a pizza oven and I struggle to light that all the time in that confined space.
Well, that's exactly what this thing was designed for. I used mine in a barbecue now, and it's just too easy.
All we need now are the marshmallows.
Did somebody say marshmallows?
Oh, fantastic. Look at you all kitted out in your Blazable gear. What's going on?
Well, we had to get organised because we've been invited to the 2019 Hearth Patio and Barbecue Expo in Texas.
That's enormous. The US is a massive market.
It is a massive market, but we've got a great market here too, and you can use Blazable anywhere you'd like to light a fire in the planet, really.
What I really love about Serge and Nancy's story is that not only did they have a good idea, but they followed it through and went to an industrial designer here in WA to get it right. And now they're poised to hit the global market with a really great product.
Edward Curry of Form Designs rated this medical innovation highly for its thoughtful design.
The designers of the M10 bed have considered all aspects of patient care. Here we have a design that is resolved from the point of view of the ergonomics, of the function. These guys have put something amazing together.
I've come to New Plymouth, a small town on the wild west coast of New Zealand, known for its ingenuity and can-do attitude. It was here in the 1950s that an engineer named Howard Wright started designing and manufacturing hospital beds in his garage. Today, the company is a world leader in hospital bed design. Oh wow, this is it, the M10, huh?
From the beginning, our goal was to design the safest hospital bed in the world, and we're really proud of the end result.
What I love about these sideboards is they just pop straight down like that.
One of the things we've done is made these deck panels easily removable.
That's fantastic.
Basically lift the panel off and can access all the actuators and control bits and pieces.
Oh, so you don't have to crawl underneath the bed, you can actually just access it from up here.
We manufacture a lot of the components here, particularly the metalwork, the powder coating or painting, and the assembly. Because we manufacture all these parts ourselves, we're able to really control quality.
So we know this is great design, but to see it operating in the real world, I've come along to a local hospital.
Right, we'll get you to hop on. All our beds here at the Hospital of Howard Wright, and as a nurse, we find them fantastic.
So if I had to ask you what your favourite design feature is, what would it be?
Probably I'd say the integrated panel on the side of the bed. It just makes it easier than trying to find the hand piece.
So it sort of gives you two options. You can use this or you can use the side panel.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I can get used to this.
The patients love them. They find them really comfortable. We actually evaluated 4 different beds. This one came out away on top. It just looks nicer, has better features, a lot more robust, and the comfort of it was a lot better than the others.
Nobody wants to end up in a hospital bed, but if you had to, you'd want it to be one of these. Might have a little nap.
I believe that everybody's born creative, and you don't need to be a designer to have ideas.
Crane operators have been dealing with a particular little issue for thousands of years. This. The industry really needed somebody to solve the problem. They needed the Terminator. So you're the Terminator.
Well, not exactly. This is the tagline Terminator. So you would have noticed I was using this to control the load while it was being lifted by a crane. This is known in the industry as a tagline. One of the problems with taglines is eventually they end up like this. This will work its way all the way up the rope.
So what can you do?
You can cut it. We'll use whatever we've got on hand. So, you know, maybe a saw, a pair of tin snips, you know, a Stanley blade, a hammer on a sharp edge, or, you know, we could even use a grinder. I'll show you.
Oh, okay. I've got it. Seriously, this looks like an accident waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, I agree. So while we're doing all this, we've got a crane driver sitting up there and we're chewing up time, chewing up money. Just because we've cut the rope doesn't mean the job's over. We then need to terminate the end of the rope. So we have the sticky tape option. It does the job, but it will fail. Then we have the West Country whip, series of knots, back and forth. Knotting takes about 10 or 20 minutes.
So what does the tagline Terminator do that these don't?
It both cuts and crimps at the same time. So you grab a crimp, place it on the rope, place it in the jaws, come up, click, job done.
So do it once and do it right.
Exactly.
Can I have a go?
Go for it.
Right.
So yeah, just squeeze it around the rope.
Yeah.
Just squeeze the top in a little bit, that's it. Place it on the spike inside the bottom jaw, that's right.
Okay.
You just need to lead that edge in, yep, that's it.
And
go for it.
Jump. Okay.
That easy.
Hey.
Yep, quick and easy.
Most of us have never had to deal with this issue and probably never will. But for those in the industry, time is money. And that makes tagline Terminator a game changer.
Our team of industry leaders are judging some of the best design innovations for the year in Australia and New Zealand.
The Cochlear Nucleus 7 brings in Bluetooth technology for answering phones, listening to music, listening to television into the world of a cochlear implant patient.
Our world is shaped by noise, and it's so true that hearing is a gift. This next innovation gives that gift to those who need it most. So, Jan, I'm ageing, my eyes are going and I'm using these. But I understand if I'm an implant user, you can pretty much give me the gift of hearing for life.
So that's the beauty with the cochlear implant, because we bypass that part of the body that is deteriorating with the cochlear implant. The people that receive a cochlear implant will only do better as the technology gets better, as we have better algorithms.
One of the big innovations with the Nucleus 7 is the app, isn't it?
Absolutely, because it allows the user to really control and master their device in a very convenient way.
So one of the biggest improvements was the direct audio streaming. What that means is I can stream any of the audio from my smartphone to my sound processor. So if I want to answer a phone call, just press hello and it streams directly to my processor.
So this works in some ways like a headphone would for me, is it right?
Exactly like that. So I can stream phone calls, music, videos, entertainment apps.
So what about when you're not streaming? I mean, we're outside today. How does that work?
The beauty of the Nucleus 7 processor is it has something called SCAN, which stands for scene analysis. So if it's a windy day like today and the wind's whistling over the microphones, it goes into the mode to reduce that. If I'm in a noisy cafe or a restaurant, it reduces the background noise. So it's constantly analyzing the environment and making the right settings for me so I don't have to worry about it.
So Roger, as I get older and older, my hearing is going to get worse and worse.
And mine's going to get better and better.
Cochlear takes design deeper. They connect science and technology to a person's unique hearing needs. They're driven by the user's experience, and that's always at the centre of really great design.
Two of my greatest passions are technology and beer. The problem with brewing is it's really fiddly, and I just can't get it right. This next innovation is going to solve that problem for me.
I had to fight off the other presenters for this one. Who wouldn't want to do a story about beer?
We always thought there was people that would love to brew their own beer at home, but don't have the time, don't have the space, don't like cleaning. So we went, oh, what about if we could take all those away? And the solution is the Brew Up brewing system. What would you like to brew today?
Do you have a check pills?
We do. Probably the beauty of this system too is that you can do everything from your phone. So if we just go in here to the app, we can order a check pills for you. All the ingredients will be delivered to you within 5 days. This will make you 10 litres of beer, which is 1 carton, and it can be as simple as putting all that in, or you can customise it to however you want to make your own beer. So then all you do is you fill it up here with water, you take your ingredients, sprinkle it around on the top. We can now start all of this from our phone here. We just go brew now. You will get notifications all along the way telling you how your brew's going, and then I'll tell you when it's finished. We'll keg it, and then a couple of weeks later we'll try the fruits of your labour.
Scott, Brew Art tells me my beer is ready.
We put it into 2 kegs for you. We got 1 ready here, and we've already tapped the other one for you. We actually fill into a bag that's inside the keg, and then when we tap them and you pull the handle forward here, it pumps air into the keg here.
I'm ready.
Squeezes the bag, and that pushes the beer out. The beauty of that is no oxygen touches the beer, so you've got a lot longer shelf life, and you can get halfway through a keg, take it out, put it back in a couple of months later, and it's still fine.
And there is my beer. Cheers, Scott.
Cheers, Rob.
Brew Art brings personal brewing out of the shed and into the home. It's such a simple process. You can craft and share all kinds of different beers, but more importantly, your own signature brew.
We're down to the final 2 projects for this episode of Australia by Design Innovations.
Sometimes an innovation turns into a work of art, and this is a prime example of where that's happened.
Wine tasting at the cellar door is as much about history and tradition as it is the wine. This place is different. Chester. Oh, Robert. I thought I was coming to a winery. I don't quite know what I've come to.
Well,
thank you very much.
You're right.
Now I'm in a winery.
Exactly, yeah, so cheers. Yeah.
What is going on here?
Well, we wanted another tasting room because ours was too full. Another restaurant that was always full, the Dairy Veranda there. And I went, well, we had to get something that captures Darrenberg in its essence. So our label names are such a puzzle to work out. Wine is such a puzzle to work out. I went, what's the most iconic puzzle? A Rubik's Cube. Then I went, well, let's make it even harder. We'll put puzzles on the outside instead of colours. So it became the Darrenberg Cube. We won the National Glass Awards with this design. And everything in the whole building, the builders, the engineers, the architects all said this is the hardest building they've ever worked on by a long, long way. And the whole idea is actually as you come in, you're getting bombarded by these sensory things and smells and tastes and colour and whatever. And then by the time you get up here, your senses are really alive. And then when you taste the wine, you're going, wow, that tastes amazing, and hopefully they buy more.
Innovation isn't always about gadgets. Chester's radical approach to wine tasting immerses you in sounds, sights and smells that are just amazing. That's got to be good for business.
As a designer, I believe that anything is possible. And when a supplier tells me it's not, it drives me crazy. Architects are exactly the same. They have great ideas, bespoke ideas, that need suppliers to deliver on that. And these guys have done exactly that.
When you imagine a skylight, you probably think of an acrylic dome, or possibly a circle, or maybe a square window. But when you build your dream home, you want a skylight that doesn't leak, is strong, but can also be made in any shape you can imagine. Well, now you can. Let there be light. So this is a traditional rectangular shaped window.
Traditional size and shape, yes, but with the new extrusions that we've got here at AtLight, we can now make them hexagonal and all sorts of different sizes and shapes. Just as strong, just as waterproof.
This means that Play School can get mobile and can get waterproof.
Absolutely. The architects love having these new designs. They don't have to curb their creativity when they're designing, and it just adds that wow factor to the design that a lot of the architects are looking for nowadays.
Suresh, what's the secret to this innovation?
This aluminium extrusion, which has got the ability to make into any shape and any sizes, and it's 100% watertight.
And strong, really strong?
It's really strong. You can even walk on it.
Really?
Well, certainly you can walk on that one.
I've got Leanne and Moses over here. We've had a little chat and we thought we might test it out. How do you feel if we jump on it?
By all means, you try it.
You ready, guys?
Yeah.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do we get it for free if it breaks?
Of course.
Wow. That is amazing. Wow, look at this. The whole lid is just lifted off. Tell me about this window skylight, James Bond door.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. It's beautifully finished. It's all double glazed glass and tinted obviously also provides a bit of protection from direct sunlight coming through.
And when you had this made, did you look around the world for people who could do this?
We did. We actually thought that was our only option at the time until we came across AtLight. With a collaboration of a few people, yeah, we finally got there.
Fantastic.
And now, the 2 projects that will continue on to the best of the best final later in the series. From this episode, the judges have chosen eShepherd and Blazaball. For more information on any of today's innovations, visit australiabydesign.com.au.